Yamaha is done making sleds. Welcome back to another episode of whatever I called this series. Next to the ride vlogs, this is like the most watched series on the channel. This series might even have more views than that. And all we do is sit around and drink and criticize. That's right, we're being armchair snowmobilers today. Anyway, if you didn't see this, this happened just today. June 28th, the day I'm filming this video. Yamaha has officially announced that it's going to be withdrawing from the snowmobile market. Yamaha Motor Co. today announces plans for the eventual withdrawal of the snowmobile business. The company plans to end sales of snowmobiles in Japan through 22 model year, in Europe through 24 model year, and in North America through 25 model year. That's such a weird feeling. Yamaha's really going the way of a lot of other sled manufacturers. You guys remember all the sled manufacturers used to be? Kawasaki used to be in it, Snowjet, John Deere, I think Mercury was in it. I'm forgetting a bunch of them. Let's go look it up just for fun. And here's a list of 257 known snowmobile manufacturers. I have not heard of the vast majority of these. Snowjet, I got that one. We'll be like building a sled on this channel in like 20 years and be like, guess what? It's a Yamaha. People be like, no way. Part of the foundation of this video series has been drinking cheap booze or whatever we can find. I think last time it was wine. I can just see what things have done on the trail. But not this time. Not for Yamaha. I think Yamaha's Sendoff needs to be more than just cheap beer. The good stuff. You know, it feels like just the other day we were doing the Make Yamaha Great Again video. It's a pretty good attempt at Yamaha logo. And really, it really could have gone only one of these two ways. Let's have a nice send-off to Yamaha. Okay, I have a feeling there isn't going to be a whole lot of meat to this video. I think a lot of it is just going to be us here drinking, quite honestly. Okay, where to start? Why don't we start by going through their press release a little bit here. Okay, for number one here, they talk a little bit about the history of how they got into the market, what they've been doing. But I'm gonna glaze over this top part here, and this is the part that I wanted to talk about right here. That's the part we need to talk about. As far as I'm concerned, Yamaha hasn't really made their own snowmobile since 2014, 2015. When was the last year of the FX chassis? So yeah, it looks like 2015. By the time 2015 came around, that was the end of the FX chassis. Yeah, it looks like the PHAZER stuck around a little bit longer than that, but that was about it. So it was about early 2000s that Yamaha really went after four-stroke technology, coming out with the RX-1, the Apex, later on the Nitro, and the PHAZER. So the early 2000s, right until the mid-2010s, that's when Yamaha was really trying to push that four-stroke technology and push it really hard in the mountain lineup. And that's about where it all started to go downhill. There was a time where these things would be everywhere, and Yamaha was really pushing that market four-stroke, four-stroke, four-stroke. Well, when the E-Tech came along and a few of the other engines, they were using less oil, meeting better emission standards. In addition to that, they were way lighter and just a way more peppier ride. That's time actually where the mountain sled game was hill climbing. Like, the Apex really today is still, if you want to build an awesome hill climb sled, you can build an Apex. When they released the FX chassis, this is the time where I was really starting to get into mountain sledding, or really figure out that's what I wanted to do. I got on an FX PHAZER through Yamaha Canada, actually. Randy Swenson, I feel like I've told this story a million times in podcasts. Dan Davidoff, the guy who really got me into sledding. That was a time where everybody wanted to go to the top of the biggest hill they can. It was really just breaking the cusp of that time where people were getting into the technical riding. And this is where the four-stroke really couldn't keep up. And the only reason it couldn't keep up was just how heavy it was. So as that big hill climbing stuff kinda wore off, so did the Yamaha four-stroke. That's what it did in the mountain segment anyway. Because they do have their use. They work awesome for the trails. They're a way better trail machine. They stick to the snow way better. They stick to the ice way better. It's a smoother ride. It's a quieter ride. The four-stroke does have its place. But that place was not in the mountain market. And then that was around the time that we started to see in the Yamahas. Everybody who had a 4-stroke prior to that was really trying to keep up with a 2-stroke, and the only way they could really do that was by adding a turbo. 2012, 2013, Cat started adding factory turbos to their 4-strokes. Those sold really well, but only for a few years. Then they really tapered off the sales really fast. Come mid-2010s, that's the gap that Yamaha found itself trying to fill. That factory 4-stroke turbo mountain sled. That only made the price of sleds go up. Pre-factory turbo, the options were, the big one was MC Express. That wasn't the only one, but that was a really common one. And adding a turbocharger to your Apex or your Nitro, you're looking in the realm 5-6 grand. So that factory turbo sled that started coming out right around the mid-2010s really just added that onto the price tag. So you were still looking at a 20 grand sled. And that today sounds cheap, right? Because now we got 2-stroke turbo sleds that are going out the door starting at 24. This seemed to be around the time that Yamaha really seemed to focus on motor technology, and they didn't seem to really care about the chassis too much. This is actually around the time where I consider that Yamaha stopped making sleds. They continued doing what they're really good at, which was engines. They made really good engines. The Sidewinder kind of found itself in a weird spot, especially like long track models being crossovers in certain years, offering the long track being a 153. So Yamaha's still pushing 4-stroke, 4-stroke, 4-stroke. And then kind of along came really their last cry for help when they introduced the Mountain Max again. So that was something that was pretty underwhelming because the Mountain Max was just an alpha. It's just an Arctic Cat alpha. There's nothing different about it. People were really raving about the ECU. Apparently the ECU tuning is great, so sure, if that makes the sled, that's awesome. When that sled came out, I really saw it as Yamaha's last cry for help, trying to stay in the mountain segment. It was weird to me that the Mountain Max had an alpha suspension system. I think they actually could have got it back if they would have actually had a dual rail suspension system on the Mountain Max. I think that would have pushed a lot of people from an Arctic Cat Alpha into a Mountain Max, because Arctic Cat has doubled down on this alpha system. Like they're fully invested in it. I think there's some European models you can get that don't have the alpha system, but the vast majority of them do. There's a lot of people that aren't fully invested in that alpha system, and in fact there's a lot of people who have had a few problems with that alpha system too. So I think a smart move for the Mountain Max there would have been just make it dual rail, because it just really suffered from the fact that there's 4 mountain sleds on the market, except there's only 3 because the Mountain Max is just a clone. And that leaves us to where we are now. Number 2 there is just Yamaha talking about, hey, that if you have one of our sleds, we're not going to stop making parts for you, that there's going to be parts coming. There will be parts availabilities for the sleds that you have or have already been ordered. Because remember, Yamaha isn't just pulling the plug on everything and just getting out. They're going to be tapering off over the next year or 2 years in some places. Yeah, I don't know. I just really feel like that full 4-stroke fleet conversion really killed them. And like, I understand, like, I know what they were trying to do, but Yamaha had some of the coolest muscle sleds in the industry leading up through the 80s and the 90s. There were some cool sleds built. Was this a surprise to me? Nah, not really. I was all about make Yamaha great again. I wanted that 2-stroke triple mountain sled more than anybody. I would love to know what you guys think. Like, a lot of what I deal with is really on the mountain side. I want to know your guys' thoughts. Like, what do you think? Does anybody have a Mountain Max or a Viper or something on order? It's like, do you still want it? Yeah, it's kind of a weird one today. Definitely not the video that I expected to make this week. We get a summer track speed video. Not always good news, turns out. That's right. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Links, Instagram, Shaun stuff, all down there. Do you guys like these videos? I always have a ton of fun doing these videos, and it's just us sitting here having drinks. Backcountry Gamers Discord as well. Come hang out with your fellow sledders. where we post things like this. That's a good place to end the video there. Thanks everybody for watching. It's just a reaction video more than anything. It's a brief video of what I believe everything that led up to Yamaha withdrawing from the snowmobile market. And I'm bummed about it. Like, especially because Yamaha's had that huge reputation, and it just kind of bums me out to just see them go down like this. I was really holding out for that Yamaha 2-stroke. Well, if Yamaha isn't going to build sleds, we're gonna. We've actually built a few sleds on this channel in the past. We've built a PHAZER in the past. Woo! And then we currently have the 780 race sled. And then we have the M series sitting in there too. Next, what I'm looking for is an Exciter 2 chassis, and as well as that, a PHAZER 2 chassis. But I don't want to spend a lot of money. Okay, everybody, if you're there, okay, if you're still watching, the last drink for Yamaha. Finish your drink for Yamaha. Rest in peace, Yamaha.